I am continuously still being asked to talk about Child's Play, the new Child's Play 2019 reboot / other Chucky universe movie that came out. So on the 4th of July, I went to go see it in a theater all by myself. I went to the theater. There was nobody else there. Eventually, like 2 other people showed up later into the movie. But yeah, man, I basically had the theater to myself to see this movie. So you better like this video and share it with your friends, subscribe, because respect that I took out my holiday to go see this movie in a theater all by myself. They didn't even have hot dogs that were so behind. They had to send the hot dog to me like 20 minutes into the film. First world problems. Hi, I'm Andre, and I'm a black nerd with a review for you, better reviews. Child's Play. I'm gonna give you the good, I'm gonna give you the bad, I'm just gonna talk about it. This is road chip style, man. There's gonna be some spoilers in this. You had your chance. This movie's been out for a couple weeks. It's gonna probably be on digital next week. So this movie, believe it or not, is one of the most confusing things to talk about in movie times. Universal has the rights to Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, and they have the distribution rights to Child's Play 2 and 3. Orion still has the rights to the original Child's Play, which means that they are allowed to make a Child's Play movie as long as it's not too similar to the Chucky movies that we already have. Is that confusing enough for you? It don't matter. The movie's about a killer doll. But because you have this weird situation, that means that this Child's Play movie for 2019 has to be completely different and set up a completely different Chucky universe. So just remember that we have 2 Chucky universes. 2 of them. Sony can work together with Disney to make Spider-Man part of the same Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Chucky needs 2 universes. So in the original Child's Play movies, listen up, this is how the 80s worked. There was a serial killer named Charles Lee Ray who was caught in a toy store. He does a voodoo ritual that he learned to transport his soul inside of a toy doll. Doll comes to life in front of a kid named Andy who gets it as a gift, and now because of that, he has to use voodoo powers to get himself out of the doll and into Andy to live a new life. It's crazy, I know, but it's remembered, you remember it, and it goes on for several movies. So of course, this new Child's Play gotta change that origin story. So this time, there's this company called Kasdan who makes a lot of products. They're basically Apple, they're basically Google, they're basically Alexa. And so they have these buddy dolls that are made in Vietnam. So one of the employees there gets slapped in the face and told, once you finish this last doll, you out of here. So this guy goes into the programming of the buddy doll. They have all these safety protocols about it not being able to do foul language, not being able to be violent. He takes all that out so this doll can basically do whatever he wants. And then he kills himself, I guess. There's a scene right after it where a guy jumps out of a window and lands on the car, but it's in the background, so I'm assuming that was him. But he's a disgruntled employee who takes his safety protocols off one of the dolls, and that's it. What's the name of this employee? He has no name. Or at least he does, but the movie decided not to tell us what it is. Could have still been a little bit extra about this guy. At least a name would have been nice, or just something. But you're gonna find out there's a lot of that in this movie. A lot of just go with it. So eventually this doll makes it to one of the stores, gets brought back as a returned item. So Andy's mom, played by Aubrey Plaza, is like, I'm gonna take this home for Andy. And there's been some complaints when the trailers came out of like, isn't her son Andy a little bit too old to be having a doll? And they acknowledge it. Andy actually says in the movie, Mom, I'm a little old to have this doll. And she goes, oh, well, it's just a gag gift. I thought it'd be a joke for you to have some fun with because you seem bored and you won't make any friends. So therefore, I thought for funsies, you can mess around with this robotic doll that's part of the Kasdan Corporation, which means they can connect to any other Kasdan products, such as your televisions or your phones or your heaters or your whatever. Does the doll have a really weird looking face? Yes, the movie also acknowledges this. That doll has a weird looking face. It's kind of creepy. Go with it. Why is the doll named Chucky? Because the doll decides he wants to name himself Chucky. So one of the things that you can do when you get a buddy doll is you can name it. So Andy tries to name it Han Solo. Yeah, because Mark Hamill is the voice of Chucky and he's Luke Skywalker, so you say Han Solo, he's like, yeah. But the doll instead is like, no, my name's Chucky. And he keeps saying, I'm Chucky. And you're like, why is your name Chucky? And the movie's like, his name is Chucky. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. He's named himself Chucky. Can you please tell me, movie, why he's named Chucky? And the doll is like, my name is Chucky. Then he pulls out a set of DVDs of old Child's Play movies and go, my name is Chucky. No, he doesn't do that. But he pretty much might as well have, because there's no other reason why he's named Chucky. The movie never explains it. If the movie did explain it and I just missed it, maybe I ate my popcorn at a bad time, so I missed the 2 seconds of explanation of why the doll decided to name himself Chucky. But from what I saw from the movie, from the cut that I got, there is no explanation of why the doll decides to name himself Chucky. He just decides his name is Chucky. I get it. This is a reboot on an old franchise, but you gotta put some of these pieces together. Now, the reason why I'm bringing all these discrepancies up is because once you kind of get past the fact that this is a movie that is trying to be like the other Child's Play movies, but also not trying to be like the other Child's Play movies, where they keep making references to the original films, but yet not giving any explanation or doing something completely different that doesn't make sense. Once you get past that level, the movie's actually pretty entertaining. Really crazy humor and also some dark comedy style humor, and the deaths are good. There's a couple of jump scare type things I could have done without those, but the basic attacks that Chucky does, those are all interesting. Even with that weird face, the Chucky animatronics work really well in this movie. There's a little bit of CGI, but not too much, and I thought that was really nice. Gotta give a lot of compliments to the cast of this movie. Like, this could have been a movie that everyone could have easily just, you know, phoned it in. No one gives a half-assed performance in this. And of course, gotta give props to Mark Hamill. Now, the thing about Mark Hamill is he's a really good Chucky. Like, he does a great job with the voice. He definitely gives that creep vibe to Andy and to others when he's talking. It's just that he never goes Chucky like Brad Dourif Chucky. Because he's usually like, hi, I'm Chucky, I want to play. And then he gets to be Chuck. But in this one, it's more of the voice of the doll is what makes it creepy, because he's always like, Andy, don't worry, we're best friends. I heard that person was bothering you, so I took care of him. So now we can play. And so he always is like this the entire time, even if he's doing something evil. So there's never a point where Mark Hamill ever goes down and his voice never gets to almost Joker levels. It's very scary until the very, very end. What's funny is during the credits, they sing this song called the Buddy Song. And the first time he sings it normal. But then if you stay throughout the credits, at the end he sings it again. But then it's a little bit more sinister. You are my buddy until the end, more than a buddy, you're my best friend. Creeped you out, didn't it? I wish the movie would have done that a little bit more, but he is freaky in this movie. The combination of that hi Andy voice and that face is really something. But before all the craziness happens, Andy does have fun with the Chucky doll, especially when he realizes that it breaks protocol and can do things like curse, or that it can play pranks on people. And this also comes into play when he starts to actually make friends. In the original movies, of course, he was already a serial killer, so there was no reason to explain why he was killing people. In this one, we have to obviously get to why does this Chucky decide to kill people? So in this version, once he imprints himself onto Andy, he sees himself as Andy's best friend, almost like Andy's protector, his bodyguard. So if anyone does anything wrong to Andy, Chucky got that covered. If you're an animal that scratches him, if you're a person that bullies him, that's your ass. And also, Chucky in this movie, he will frame you real quick. Any of the deaths that he does, he'll like record them and like throw them up on the TV to show Andy. But the thing about it is Andy usually says something to get Chucky to want to go do this stuff. So anytime Andy's like, Chucky, you can't do this, Chucky be like, play the tape. And he'll just play back what Andy says. Like if Andy's all like, I wish that guy would go away, and Chucky makes him go away, and Andy's like, you should have made him go away, plays back to Andy, him saying, I wish that person would go away. So it's like, oh, dang, Andy, you an accomplice. He tries to blackmail Andy at one point in a department store. He puts a bunch of TVs on and have them all showing Andy wishing that somebody that Chucky killed was dead. Man, don't put Chucky on social media. Chucky be canceling everybody. I mean, Chucky is messed up. Like, look, spoiler, he kills a cat in this movie. He kills like their pet cat. And at one point, he's just standing in the corner and Andy's like looking at him, and then he goes away, and then he hears meow. And then Andy thinks the cat's actually alive, and it's actually Chucky recording of the cat, and he just goes meow, meow. I'm like, dang, Chucky, that's cold. Oh, so I guess I should explain, how does Chucky learn to kill? It's our fault. The kids teach him foul language. The kids show him how you stab somebody or how you fight somebody. Watching like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and movies like that, where they're seeing all these slasher films, watch violent movies, play violent video games. And so Chucky is absorbing all of this, and he sees that this violence makes Andy laugh. It entertains him. Chucky's seeing like how much that entertains him, makes them happy. So he's like, oh, that's cool to do that. Chucky, in his weird AI thoughts, goes, oh, if I kill people on Andy's behalf, that will entertain him. That's like playing to him. So us watching violence and Chucky seeing us being entertained by violence is what makes him learn violence to eventually become violent. commentary. There is one point where the kid tries to teach Chucky how to stab somebody and then tells him to say, "This is for Tupac." Really? But like I said, eventually Chucky is like, "I'm Andy's best friend, so anyone that messes with him, I take them out." But of course, that eventually becomes, "I'm Andy's best friend, so if anyone tries to take my place as his best friend, I'm taking them out as well." What's also interesting is that Andy has a hearing aid. And so I'm assuming that the hearing aid is also a Kasdan product, because there are times in the movie where Chucky can talk directly into the hearing aid. So it sounds like he's right beside Andy when actually he might be in a distance or hiding somewhere. I thought that was a very interesting concept to play around with. Most of the deaths that happen in this movie fall under that category of justice deaths. Oh, they did something wrong in the movie, so therefore they're gonna die in the movie. So if they make fun of Andy, or they're cheating on their spouse, or they're creepily spying on the mom, any of that kind of stuff is like, oh, you're doing something wrong, so therefore you die. Except, okay, sidebar. Do you remember when there were some people who were, I guess, mad about Jurassic World when that one woman got eaten up by the dinosaurs? Like she was picked up by the pterodactyls and then dropped into the fish dinosaur. And people were like, she didn't deserve that death. And they wrote like think pieces about it and was trying to make a big deal about it. There is somebody that dies in Child's Play that totally did not deserve it. She was being nice to Andy. She was being cool with Andy. She offered him food. And Chucky just got jealous. And was like, "I'm going to take you out." And I'm like, okay, where's that think piece? No one's talking about that. And I don't think I even need to say what the race of this person is. I'm being salted today. But let me just say, one of my favorite parts, he can control any of the other Kasdan products. So at one point, there's this big launch of the next buddy, Buddy 2. And they're gonna have different buddies. Now you can have a blonde buddy, or a black buddy, or a buddy bear. And they have this big launch at the store. Chucky, of course, is there. Andy's there. Mom is there. Everybody's there. And that's when it gets fun. Chucky puts blades on drones. He controls these evil little buddy bears. And is like, attack! And it's so cool, but it's so short. It like doesn't last that long at all. You know, I wanted that Gremlin style, just everything in the toy store, just taking everybody out. And some of that happens, but I think it could have been even stretched more, because this is where I would have liked more time spent. If you're going to do this whole thing of Chucky can control other things, go all in on it. I mean, eventually they do throughout the course of the movie, but it takes a little bit before we get to that point of Chucky being like, oh, I can control all this, let's do it. There's even one point where a toy police car drives by and goes, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me." And I'm like, oh, that's cool, you reference RoboCop. Another movie from MGM Orion that had an unnecessary reboot a few years ago. So as you can see, I'm entertained by the movie. It's just that it's this weird film because the premises that it puts out there about being scared of AI or just how Chucky is, they're like all good premises. Why couldn't the toy just be named Buddy? Why is it even a doll? Why couldn't it be something that's more catered to what we have today? Maybe like just a robot character or something. Not been Child's Play, but just been maybe more inspired by Child's Play. But they have to make it Child's Play. They have to make it Chucky. They have to make it a doll because nostalgia. But what can I say? That's what got me to see it. I was like, I want to see what this Chucky looked like. And I get it. You were trying to be counter-programming to Toy Story 4. I mean, Child's Play even has a kid named Andy with a toy that moves around when he's not looking. So I get it. But this is one of those movies I think would have fared better in another month where there's not a lot of competition, not a lot of movies. But I do feel like it will be this movie, and this is just my opinion. If you don't agree, that's fine. But I feel like this will be the kind of movie that once it gets on streaming, once it becomes a digital release, I think you will sit home and watch it. And if you can put the other Child's Play universe controversy thing behind you and just watch it as it is, I think it's a good, like, comedic, dark comedy / horror film. I mean, do you want to see a movie where a girl gets drenched in blood because someone was bleeding so much by her that she just completely gets covered in blood? That's the kind of thing you're going to get from Child's Play 2019. And of course, the movie sets itself up for a sequel. As I mentioned in that store scene, Chucky was able to create other products to be evil as well. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Chucky is able to transfer his evilness into another toy. They kind of give a hint at towards the end of the movie, which means, you know, hey, if this movie is liked and we want to make a second one, then we can do that. But according to that box office, I don't know, man. But I could see it continuing on streaming. But then again, you already got the other Chucky movies already on streaming. So like, it just gets confusing. Why are we in a world with 2 Chucky universes? How does Chucky have 2 universes and Gremlins can't even get a 3rd film? Life ain't fair. So for my Care Bear rating, I give Child's Play 2019 a Funshine. It's not a movie that's really necessary at all, but at the same time, I never was bored by it. I felt like some of the elements were very funny. I thought some of the kills were cool. I thought some of the horror stuff was cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna hate it. I still think it's cool to have that other Chucky universe, and I want to see where the future of that goes. Not needed, but not terrible. So I think Funshine is how I felt. I had fun with it. And considering I was one of 2 people in the movie theater to watch it, the fact that I still had fun with it and wasn't bored is a pretty good statement for the movie itself. It was very easy to walk out if I wanted to, and I didn't. Are you interested in seeing the new Child's Play? Are you going to go check it out? Are you going to wait when it comes out digitally and watch it then? If you already saw it, what did you think of it? Do you feel like it was good in its own right, or do you feel like this is just a disgrace to the Child's Play legacy? If you like this video, thumbs it up. Subscribe to things, ring bells, you know the drill. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000, and I'll be your buddy until you die.